All right, welcome. This is the ViaMonstra office hours. It is Wednesday, it's 4:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's time for our usual updates, Q&A on everything related to MDT, Intune, ConfigMgr, and all the combination in between. Welcome to an hour, and let the show get rolling. All right. Hey, Andrew. Good to have you back. How are things?
Hey there. Not too bad. Happy to be here. Always enjoy being here on Wednesday afternoons, that's for sure. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm dressed up for the occasion too, as you can see.
Absolutely. Perfect. I have Mandalorian today, but as we know, it is Andor Day.
It is Andor Day. Looking forward to that as well.
Absolutely.
It's hard to compete with that, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, we'll do it. You can watch Andor later. We'll focus on office hours for now.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
So, exciting week. A lot of things going on. Anything you like to share? You want me to get going?
Yeah, I have a couple of quick things I'd like to share. If you don't mind, before you hop into it, I think you've got a few more things today, but
let's do it.
All right, let me share my screen here. All right, so first thing I wanted to start out with is our friends over at MSEndpointMgr last Friday released an Intune audit dashboard. And just today I was finally getting around to configuring this in my tenant. So I'm going to share this link here. Pretty straightforward instructions, as they usually have with their community solutions that we've showcased a few times on the office hours here. But I just wanted to pop into my tenant here and take a look and see what you actually get out of this. So this solution, like many of the other ones, requires some diagnostic information from your tenant or whatever service, in this case Intune audit logs, being forwarded over to Log Analytics and putting together some workbooks that they have graciously offered in the form of putting them up on GitHub for the community to use. So pretty straightforward. Configure your diagnostic logging to send to Log Analytics. Copy this workbook information into your tenant. With this particular workbook, I noticed there are a few things that need to be configured for your specific organization to customize this a little bit. But I thought we'd just take a look real quick and see what type of information pops up in here. So basically, if we look at our reports in the Intune Admin Center and we go to Reports and Workbooks, here we can kind of see just by default shows the last 30 days of audit logs. So we see quite a bit of information here, it looks like. We can see which applications are performing admin-related events here. Or users, I guess, for example. So we've got my admin user, and we have a couple of users that I use for examples in our Academy courses that I know for a fact happened to enroll some devices earlier this week. So we can see kind of a trend of what's happening in the tenant over the last 30 days. Looks like we can drop this down and change to a longer or shorter time span if needed. So we see a few more logs there as expected if we go out to 90 days. Looks like some device actions. Here we can get into some specifics and see what is happening to devices. So we can see, as an admin, I was in here sending some remote sync commands down to devices, presumably doing some testing at the time. But I suspect that, looks like we'll see deletes, locates, presumably any actions that would get audited in the audit log will show up in here. Specific targets we can choose. So looks like some applications, specific actions. We can actually just filter on those specific actions. That's pretty cool.
They're great.
Yeah. So a bunch of different tabs in here. Definitely useful. I like this format a little bit more than just going into the audit log and trying to filter on each specific event you want. And I like the visualizations here. This is pretty sharp.
Beats trying to hammer out the QKL query.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, I mean, we've showcased several of their workbooks for update compliance and custom inventory, BIOS inventory, things like that on our office hours. And looks like yet again they're knocking it out of the park with another community workbook here. Goodness. So yeah, that was one of the bigger ones that I had today. We also had just real quick, I'm not sure if this will totally answer a question, but last week we had a question about downloading MSIX packages from the store, and I came across this blog post from Alex, and it looks like he had found a script on GitHub that is titled Download AppX from Store, but at least according to his blog post, it looks like it may grab an MSIX as well if the application in the store happened to be packaged as an MSIX. So just, I haven't tested this out myself, but wanted to do some quick research to be able to follow up on a question from last week. And make sure we get this link dropped into our links for today's live stream.
I was able to snatch the last one because I knew about it. So if you drop just that one, I can add it to the link section.
Sounds good. And then not totally related to Intune ConfigMgr or anything like that, but I did happen to notice for those of you that use the Windows PowerToys, there was a new update today that had some utilities that make editing host files easier and seeing which processes have files locked, which could be very useful. I'm sure we have some people watching that use PowerToys, so I just wanted to mention that quickly as well.
It's been around for a while.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's nice to see them bring it, modernize it a little bit and start updating things again.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I had for this week.
All right. I unfortunately have some very sad news as a start. Let me go ahead and share my screen here real quick. So let me see if I do this. That was Andrew going away. I was trying to get my screen up. Here we go. Now, finally. This is not the sad news. This happened to me on my blog, and I'm quite proud of that one. But it is this one here, the announcement that the ConfigMgr Community Hub is going away next year. And that's a sad moment to learn about that. For those of you who don't know what it is, if you go to a somewhat recent ConfigMgr server, there is a community hub in the bottom in the admin console where authors, IT Pro community members have uploaded tons of different tools and things over the years. So, for example, if you search for CMPivot, you try to spell CMPivot somewhat correctly, there will be a bunch of ready-made queries for that, and you have the right-click tools and recast and a lot of other really good solution posted here. It's been curated by Microsoft, so it's not like you have to be approved to upload things, but just a lot of good stuff. So basically make sure to download all this beforehand, because this apparently is going away from the console. So that was bummer.
That is a
to say the
bummer.
least. All right. On the good side is we covered this a little bit last week, but we do have a new release of Intune. A good chunk of new features of it is the 2010 release. It's been rolled out pretty much everywhere by now. So if I go to my tenant or one of my tenants, sure enough, it shows up as a 2010 service release. And they managed to mess up the UI a little bit. We stumbled across that and been arguing that over the week on Twitter. So they are rolling out a fix this week to correct some of them UI changes. For example, it was not possible to sort computer names correctly or device names in Intune. But there was a release or release notes for it. Everything that is new in this release, a blog post, came out just around the technical takeoff time. But yeah, just wanted to share that link with you so you have that available. And more interesting also is that they updated just the other day the in development page that they have. So I guess the day before yesterday here, October 31st. This seems to be an excitement in the community, the ability to uninstall Win32 apps from the company portal, and of course many other changes upcoming in the product here. But this seems to be the big one for most folks at the moment. Otherwise, it's been a great week. I got a new toy.
Ooh.
Yes, very shiny. I took a picture of it somewhere. Here. It's the dev kit, the project Volterra that Microsoft released. So a piece of hardware. It's a nice ARM-based, ARM64-based machine. 32 gigs of memory, half terabyte of hard drive. $599 when you order it from Microsoft directly. But it's a pretty snappy machine. So I actually got it running here. And it was very quick to install. Of course, it came pre-installed with ARM for Windows, because the ARM editions are not downloadable from, for example, the My Visual Studio subscriptions. They are available on Volume License site. If you have access to that, you can download actually Windows 10, Windows 11 Enterprise for ARM on that ISO files. Otherwise, if you don't mind being a little bit creative, there are ways to get the ARM64 ESD files and using community tools to convert them into an ISO. Mike and Niehaus blogged about that a little while ago. But anyhow, here's my ARM machine running Hyper-V with another ARM VM that I downloaded from the Insider Preview program. A little bit sad about that, because the moment I fired it up, they said it was already expired, and I downloaded it today. So it's like, oh, come on, you. Anyhow, if I open up a little PowerShell prompt, the coolest thing I thought was the model name for this particular machine. I can type. Good Lord. I did the mistake of pressing tab. Here we go. Computer system, select model. And sure enough, this is the model name of the hardware, Windows Dev Kit 2023. So, but if I open up Task Manager, go to Performance, this is the CPU, Snapdragon on it. Quite performant in general so far. I've been amazed how snappy this machine is. So we're going to do some development testing on this one. See if I can figure out how to deploy things to it as well, of course, as you do. Yeah, that's for a later story. Now, the interesting part is I decided to enroll it into Intune just because I could, and start to deploy applications to it because ARM64 can run Windows applications. The challenge is when targeting those, and it was actually Jose on Twitter that helped me figure that one out. So I just wanted to share that. Well, first of all, this was the heads up that I got from Jose there, then saying, make sure you are aware about the ARM gotchas when deploying stuff from Intune. I'm like, all right, well, what are those? Well, sure enough, it turns out that there is no ARM filter when you target apps through Intune. There is 32-bit, there is 64-bit. That's pretty much it. And the IME agent in Intune is indeed a 32-bit app. So, long story short, what you have to do to get this working somewhat was basically figure out some sort of strategy around this. But bottom line, you may have to offer them as a 32-bit on Intune, even though it is an ARM64 type deployment. What I found interesting reading on further in this post, that I haven't been able to dive into that anymore. I just saw this yesterday, but it seemed that Microsoft already, added in more architectures into the platform. So hopefully in a future service release, we will see better support in Intune for ARM. But all in all, if I go to my tenant here again, find my devices, sure enough, my dev machine here shows up nicely. Device model, and yeah, managed by Intune. So that was my playtime last night, playing around with this for a bit, like that.
That's pretty cool.
It is. Of course, aside from this, I'm going to skip that one for now. Back to our friends at MSEndpointMgr. They announced, I believe it was today, might have been yesterday, that they have an MSEndpointMgr Blog Talks they started up. So community on Twitter that you can join. So I joined. I'm looking forward to have discussions in this one. So why not sign up for that one? What else? Oh yeah, Peter had a good blog post that I stumbled across from this week as well, regarding mapping file shares on Azure on Windows devices from Intune. And in this case, he focused on, because you can of course do it through PowerShell scripting, but he focused on using an ADMX template. These days you can import ADMX templates into Intune and use them to basically do a drive mapping there. So yeah, I thought that was a interesting read. So we will obviously share that link with you guys as well. I did stumble across somewhere here. There was a file generator that was linked to. This one, drive mapping generator, not file generator. It's been around for a while. Our friend over at Intune Training, they do have a walkthrough video on how to set it up. But this was also a cool way to use PowerShell scripts to map file shares on clients. So if you do read this post, make sure to click that link as well. That was pretty much all I had in terms of updates. I saw you just posted a link to me as well, Andrew, so I'm going to steal them before I forget.
Excellent. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, this is nice. This is very, very nice. Do we have any questions coming in?
Yeah, actually, Matt on YouTube was saying hello to us. Hi, Matt. Thanks for joining us again. And was asking if you could talk about your new blog post on implementing an image factory.
I'll be absolutely happy to. That was my project this weekend and early this week. Because we basically, last week we started up a thread there was a gentleman that was asking Microsoft, like, can I please have updated ISOs always for not just the latest version of Windows, but for all current versions of Windows at least that are being supported? And Microsoft don't do that. Apparently they do it internally, but they don't publish those for, I'm assuming, some sort of political reasons. I don't know why. I'm just guessing here. But anyhow, due to friends in the community, Donna Ryan, Winwich, David Segura with OS the Builder, it's fairly easy to implement. So basically, if you don't mind running a PowerShell script here and there, you can make sure to update those images yourself. So for this example, I just downloaded an ISO file, in this case a Windows Server 2019, but this works on all supported versions of Windows. So David makes OS the Builder for Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows Server 2016, 2019, and 2022. So it works the same. And this is it. This is the entire script that you need to spit out an updated media. So you define the ISO file that you want to use, you define what version you want to work with in it, and then you install the module, import it, mount the ISO, import and update. This one can be done in one single go. If you really want to, you can import first and then update. And then, of course, as the months go by, you will just run the update command after that. And that will generate an updated media for you. If you want, you can generate the ISO file from it. Or you can, if you're using VM templates, you can apply that to a VSTX file. And of course, if you're using VMware, you can have an equivalent script in VMware to apply it to a VMDK file instead of a VHDX file. But bottom line, this script will run for about an hour. The import took 4 minutes on one of my machines and about 64 minutes for the actual update. But it's automated. You don't have to wait for it. You can just kick it off and leave it. And I mean, this is just a simple example. I encourage you guys to like expand on this. For example, it's not terribly complicated for PowerShell to look through a folder of ISO files and run this code snippet for each of them and update the media. You can spin up multiple VMs. You can actually run it side by side many times if you want. But yeah, it's a quick solution until Microsoft decides to release them for us. I figured. So yeah, that was a little bit what I spent a good few hours on. Doesn't look much, but it took a little bit of research to get it right.
No, this is great stuff. You know, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday, just having these, sometimes you forget that these, what we see as basic tasks now actually do improve over time, and they make changes, and just having a simple blog post like this and having all of that testing that you've already gotten out of the way for everybody is actually a pretty big deal. So I know I appreciate you putting this out there for everyone.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, we have another question coming in on YouTube. Any way to review or check the revision history and details of BitLocker policy in ConfigMgr?
I don't think there is one. I'm assuming it's being referred to the settings that we have here in endpoint protection, BitLocker management. So if I create a policy, whatever that might be, yeah, I'm just going to leave it as this for now. So the question was basically if there is to go back to see previous versions of this. It does have revisions, but I don't think there is an option to go back in revisions, unfortunately. I mean, I can try to do a change. And sure enough, it bumps up the revision number by 1, but no, I don't see any option to go back a version and see what it was. It's not like you have for applications where you can watch a previous version, stuff like that. So if anyone happened to know, I'm all ears, but it's not something I've stumbled across that you can see.
It is. I would suspect even your status messages are likely just going to say you made a change and not the additional details about what you changed. That would have been my only other thought.
Yeah, I don't think it will show up in audit logs. Well, apparently I created something, but it doesn't. Yeah, as you said, it doesn't show what.
Yeah. Limited use, I would say.
Yeah. So this was my version 1 down here that I changed. This was version 2.
Oh yeah, it doesn't even show up as a modify. It shows up as you creating a new one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if this is stored somewhere, but you can look into the configuration if it kept it somewhere, but it is, yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know on the top of my head. If anyone happened to know, by all means, feel free to post in the chat and we'll be happy to relay that information. All right, let's see. Okay, Ari had a question regarding learning in depth about the JAMf product. I have no idea. That's not something I have stumbled across. You, Andrew, anything?
No, same here. I know it's pretty widely used in Mac and iOS management, but I'm not too familiar with it myself.
Yeah. Again, if anyone knew a good learning or training around JAMf, let us know and we'll share that information.
Yeah.
Anything else, Andrew?
Yeah, another question on YouTube. What licenses do I need to run my own lab, my own ConfigMgr lab to connect to Intune? Please advise. So, as usual, I think we'd preface this with we are not licensing experts. However, we do have some recommendations for our Intune trials. There is an EMS E5 trial that is out there from Microsoft, as well as the Microsoft 365 E5 developer subscription. Let me see if I can find that.
Would you share your screen there?
Yeah, that's fine. So there is the, this should be it here. This is the Microsoft 365 developer program. So this will give you a renewable 90-day Microsoft 365 E5 developer subscription. So this will give you 25 licenses for the, I wouldn't say the full E5 suite. There are a few things missing, I believe. Windows licenses as well as the Teams Voice licenses are not in this E5 subscription. And some of the really advanced security features. I don't think there's any Defender for Endpoint in this subscription, but there are some, I believe, Defender for Identity and a couple of other things. Anyways, there are licenses beyond the Intune that you're asking for, but Intune is absolutely included in this, as well as the shinier Azure AD Premium P2 license is part of this. I really like this program. I've used it for a little over a year now because as long as you're using it and intend on having a long-term lab, which you'll hear from both of us, we both recommend that you have if you're in this space. as long as you're using it, you're making changes, you're creating new things, this lab is going to automatically renew those licenses for you on that 90-day rolling basis.
Yeah, I mean, for ConfigMgr, you have the only two options is either to use a full media that your company typically would provide for you, or a trial version, evaluation version that you download from the Microsoft Evaluation Center. The hydration kits that we showcased here many times in the office hours is just one way to get a lab going. There's another one that you can download from Microsoft. We have a free mini course here on the Academy that focuses on just what you need to know to get a lab going, basically. Everything from picking the right hardware, setting up the right network, and doing all that good stuff. So, yeah, that will be that.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps. All right, we had a follow-up about JAMf. Somebody else on YouTube commenting that if you're wanting to learn about JAMf, recommended to look for and sign up for JAMf Nation.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Andre. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. And then Ari's asking again on YouTube, we've got 10 engineers working on many tasks and things in ConfigMgr. Things are often being touched, deleted. How can we ensure an end-to-end auditing is enabled? Basically need what and when was changed in those details. You actually still have that report up on your screen, Johan?
I can bring it up again.
Okay.
If you, it's too many buttons. Here we go. Every admin will show up as an option to pick from here if you have multiple admins. And you will see in pretty great detail what's been going on. And auditing is enabled by default. This is not something that I have gone and enable. And in fact, I don't think you can disable it even because it's a status messages that are generated in ConfigMgr. And you probably don't want to have it disabled either, even if it was possible. But here's an example. Apparently, I created a sequence down here on October 31st. I was doing a demo apparently at the same time also. Demo sequence. So it will show you when you add, when you delete, when you modify things. Here, I mean, some of the information is quite detailed. I modified discovery data. I requested a collection to be refreshed. Don't do this in production. I was refreshing the all systems collection because I had imported a few devices and I didn't want to wait 5 minutes. I was lazy. Updating all systems collection in a large production environment can trigger an instant snowball effects. But in that particular lab, I have like 50 clients. I wasn't too worried. So, but you get good details, I'll say, in this one, for sure. All right, great questions. Any other questions?
That's what we've got for the moment. We've still got some time here for sure for additional questions.
Oh yeah, whooping 25 minutes to spare. That's a good chunk of questions.
I would say so. All right. We've got another question coming in on YouTube. Any idea about Microsoft AIP, Azure Information Protection? I think they are trying to move to built-in labeling. Also, why do they recommend Office Current Channel instead of semi-annual channel? So, I don't know about you, Johan. I don't have a lot of experience with the information protection side.
No, sir. Not me either.
Yeah, I don't think we can add too much on that. As far as recommending Office Current Channel instead of semi-annual channel, there may be a better reason, but I've seen over the last several years now, Microsoft has sort of been pushing towards or pushing away from semi-annual channel, long-term servicing channel, things like that, so that their customers can get features out faster on that current channel. So you'll see security updates happen monthly on these semi-annual channels and long-term surfacing channels, but you won't get those feature updates that you'll get with the current channels. So hopefully I explain that. That's my read on what they're doing there.
All right, excellent. See, there is a question. It's a ConfigMgr question regarding readable SiteCtrl file and locations of previous version of SiteCtrl files. Nothing on top of my head. Nope, it had some information about it. Starting off, obviously, where editing that file is absolutely not supported, but I'll share the link here at least.
This isn't the first time you've talked about something unsupported, Johan.
I try my best not to do it every day. Tuesdays only.
I have to make an exception today, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen like a viewer editor for it, and as Anoop clearly states here, stay away from it. Yeah. I think this one pretty much nails it. But, yeah, I mean, we'll share this link in the chat. You know it exists. At least you can view it for troubleshooting purposes, if anything. If anyone happen to have any information, by all means, please share it, and we'll be resharing it. All right. All right, there is a question on YouTube coming in. Can you please explain the differences between configuration profiles and compliance policy? Many people use them interchangeably. I usually view this as the configuration profiles is the entire set of policies that you would like a device to have in your environment. It could be anything from BitLocker settings to DO settings to like thousands of different settings imaginable, Edge settings, Office settings, Chrome settings, whatever you have there in terms of what you configure your devices to be. Compliance policy is more like, all right, what did that machine need to fulfill to be considered compliant in our environment? And you will find that you have more limited options there, but Microsoft recently added in at least a simple option through scripting to have custom compliance policies as well. Anything you'd like to add there, Andrew?
Yeah, and then of course with the compliance policies, you can use that to write some of your conditional access policies, determine if you're on a compliant device, and you have that integration there. Whereas you're not, configuration profiles are just going to set the configuration in the way that you want. Compliance policies are going to make sure it is the way that you want it configured. But yeah, that's it from me.
All right, thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. Ari is commenting on the Teams update cadence. Apparently, he's not a happy camper around the current cadence. How do we admins get an email notification as soon as there is a new desktop installer out there? Can't say I've seen any notification platform for that.
No, I mean, the closest thing that I can think of is in the M365 portal. the message center, but that's not really going to get what you're looking for, I don't think. So of course,
You
the
have it on
M365.
the screen there?
Yeah, if you want to share my screen. So the M365 Message Center is going to give you information about what's coming and features that are being released to the different services. And I feel like I've seen.
There is one of the Teams down there, but it doesn't look like a release.
Yeah,
like
so a feature update that there's an admin policy change coming for the webinars experience. So you get this kind of this is all good information. This is stuff that you want to follow in your tenant for sure. And I think I've seen some things related to versioning in here. But as far as actually getting an update when a new version of the desktop client comes out, I haven't come across anything like that. I agree. It would be it would be nice to know when some of these things are going to happen. I wonder if there's a what's new in Microsoft Teams, similar to how they have in, with Intune. Yeah. So this what's new in Microsoft Teams page, it's not going to give you notifications, but it's something to look for. I think in the Teams client, which I don't have up on this device, you could also do a /what's new in the command bar at the top, and that's going to get you to the same page. But this is the only thing that I can think of alongside the message center. So I'll at least drop this link, Johan, just in case anybody's interested in seeing this. Definitely. Ari says he's glad he brought a smile to both of our faces about the update cadence. Definitely. We're there with you. I hope at least that link will be of some help to you.
I was trying to be a little bit creative while you were doing that. Can I steal the screen?
Oh, please.
This was basically a follow-up. I did some research while Andrew was showing his stuff regarding the BitLocker policies, and I based this on what I saw in the audit logs, where this is where ConfigMgr is one of the views for configuration items, and the BitLocker policy is a configuration item. So I simply selected them all and I ordered by date created, descending. And when I run this query, I obviously got all these policy changes back. And when I started to peek into some of the data in that policy, this is where I had some of the BitLocker changes that I was playing around with. Not sure how helpful this is, if any, but maybe that could be something as well. Yeah.
Dang.
Sidebar.
No, actually, there was a follow-up in the chat about potentially comparing previous versions with the current version of SiteCtrl file and hopefully see what changes were done in BitLocker policy. So related to the revision history question that I think you were trying to answer here, Johan. So that's great stuff.
Yeah, try at least.
Yeah, at least a thread to pull on, right?
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else.
Is there a list of release dates of Windows ISOs I get from VLSC? I see the months, but when I download the ISO, there's an identifier in the file name. I'm assuming that is a version number of some sort.
No, they usually don't. I mean, they usually stamp like in the file name or in the on the web page there that like updated a certain month.
Mm-hmm.
So that's easy enough, I think. I usually don't need to see the exact date it was released. You can always mount it and check the version inside of it, because that's basically what tools like OS Builder and Winwich and the others are doing. And they also stamp those versions in the name for it. And you can look up those version numbers and compare them to knowledge base articles about that update, and that will give you an indication. But I mean, the ISOs, when they're being released, they're being patched with that month's cumulative update. So that's the update that came on patch Tuesday that month. It just may take a while for Microsoft to release the ISOs. If you generate them yourself, like I showed you earlier in the MS Factory, of course, they will be available right away for you. So, I mean, if I go to, for example, my Visual Studio, or I will go to the VLSC site, and you have all your different download files and ISOs and whatnot that you use, say Windows 11 here, and you sort by release date instead of you do have this information in them when they were released, etc., etc. So it's not too bad, I think.
And I do see, Johan, would you mind popping back to my screen for just a moment? Because I just downloaded these ISOs 2 days ago. So I wonder if this is what Andre's referring to. There are these, this string at the end,
Yeah,
of like 8 characters, but I don't. Doesn't look like it's related to a build number or anything like that. Maybe some sort of hash or something, or part of a hash that they have. But I don't know if that's supposed to be useful to us, or if that's just something that Microsoft has in there for some reason.
I was checking the SHA-256 hash on one of these downloads, and I could not find that string in the string that is in the file name. I couldn't find it in the hash, so it must be something else, something internally that they are referring to. Yeah. So anyhow.
Yeah.
Great questions. Any other questions? You guys are keeping busy today. Love it.
Yeah. Somebody, one of my friends today, suggested to me that, if we do get a lull in the questions here, instead of just talking about Star Wars next time, we'll threaten everybody with me just starting to build Lego sets on screen. So if we don't get questions, that's what's going to start happening, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the Falcon to complete. That's a good number of Lego pieces.
I would say so. I've got a couple more hours left.
Yeah,
a couple times 10 or 15.
Yeah. There was a follow-up comment there on the YouTube channel, basically another file name example with those somewhat strange numbers in the end. This looks like a pro license. I can bring up that name just to show you a reference. Stealing the screen from you again, Andrew. Sorry. I'll consider giving it back.
Appreciate it.
So this was like another example of a file name where there is some stuff in the end that I'm not sure what that indicates, really.
Yeah, and I wonder if the file name is different depending on where you download from. I would suspect so, because I've seen file names like this before.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ones that I showed were downloaded from Visual Studio site, like you're showing in the background.
This must look more like a VLSC type naming
Yeah.
to me. So yeah, if anyone happened to know again, by all means share it. But yeah. Anything else? I'll be happy to answer.
We got about 8 more minutes.
Oh yeah.
Plenty of time for a question or two.
All right. I don't see any more questions coming in at the moment. So I think we will call that a wrap then. Oh, just me saying that, showing up another question. Question regarding, I know ConfigMgr well, but zero Intune Azure knowledge. Where's a good starting point, prior resorts? Well, shameless plug, but I do recommend our trainings, of course, that we have on the topic. They are for all levels. We have the courses that are from people that are new into the platform until the master classes that for more experienced advanced users, of course. But I mean, there are a lot of free resources available as well for training. We do have our good friends over at Intune Training. They have been publishing hundreds of videos now that you can learn about. And there are other people out there providing good information on the topic. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on the topic.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shameless plug, obviously, but this is what we do for a living, or at least part of our living. We were happy to have you, but this is not the only place to get information. There's a lot of other great community efforts out there. So, yeah. All right. All right then. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Thank you for the many good questions, and we hope to see you again next week. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.